Hello, and welcome to this webinar titled Unleashing the Power of Magnesium for an Active Lifestyle. So my name is Isabel Gomez, and I am the Global Marketing Manager of the Nutraceuticals business of Lubrizol. And today I'm very pleased to be co-speaking with my colleague, Dr. Alan Connolly, who will be also introducing the technical aspects of these great products. So I'm very excited to have you here. And before we start, let's bring some housekeeping points to go over. So please, if you have any questions, type them into the Q&A box on the webinar screen and hit submit button. Also, if you experience any technical difficulties while watching this webinar, please refresh your browser. This clears up most of the problems. But if this doesn't help, just type your issue in the Q&A box and a member of the NutriIngredients technical team will help you. Finally, you should see a resources panel on your screen where you can access useful documents and links related to today's topic. So the agenda we have for today is first, we're going to introduce the magnesium market and consumer trends. Then we're going to understand a bit about the unmet needs, what consumers want, and what are the associated challenges to current magnesium supplementation. Then we're going to bring our solution, MagShape Macro Capsules, which is based on microencapsulation. We'll explain how it helps to address all these magnesium problems. And finally, we're going to introduce some consumer taste and validation from the consumer's voice of this solution MagShape and some data to show how we are able to back up the claim substantiation of the health benefits of our product MagShape Macro Capsules. So a little bit about magnesium. We've seen there is a growing awareness of this mineral. There are more and more health benefits associated to it. We see that it's driving the growth, especially because it's very linked to several holistic benefits, such as sleep support or mental wellness in general. So there are many reasons why consumers are trying to find magnesium in their products. And we're going to understand a bit better why they're trying to find this magnesium source in their supplement preferred products. In terms of the market, we know that consumers are being more proactive. That's why they're turning to nutraceutical products. So this is driving and propelling the growth of nutraceuticals with a CAGR of 81%. And mostly it's driven by this aging population, but also by the growing willingness of consumers to improve their brain function and also to stay as fit as they can for a longer time. And especially it's all about powered by this prevention over cure approach, where people are really trying to prevent the onset of chronic diseases, for example. So that's why they're trying to run to nutraceuticals to be able to counteract all of these potential health problems they could have. So this is why one of the main reasons why nutraceuticals are really growing in terms of demand by the consumers. In our case, we spend some time to understand consumers in general that are taking supplements. So for getting this information or these insights, we partner with 113 industries, which are able to gather and analyze thousands of conversations across different sources. And they use techniques of natural language processing and artificial intelligence. So with this consumer behavior analysis, we were able to understand the consumer's types. We learned there are some irregulars, there are some skeptical that don't actually believe in supplements, for example. The mechanicals that just take it, but they don't really reason why they need a supplement. But there are some that are very proactive, and these are the ones that we are listed here because those are the ones that are really propelling the innovation and around supplements. So there are three types we selected that are very important to magnesium supplements. The first one, which are the health-hooked consumers. Those are the ones that already include supplements in their daily routines. They are very concerned about their general wellness. And as you can see, one of the top 5 ingredients they are looking for is magnesium because they link magnesium to supporting their general wellness. So this is one of the type of consumers that is proactive. The second one, which is also very important and is growing in terms of share of the voice, is a pregnancy-minded consumers. So this type of consumer is not only pregnant women or women trying to conceive or breastfeeding mothers, for example. There are women that take care of their families, their parents, their partners, and they are always trying to find solutions to help them in a proactive way. In terms of top health concerns, they're very focused on supporting immune health, but also the cognitive health or development of their children. Especially if they're pregnant, they are trying to keep a healthy pregnancy. And they are also very focused on minimize side effects because they want to make sure they finish the supplementation for their own or for their children. They want to make sure they tolerate or accept the products they're taking. So this is a very important consumer that is really propelling and driving the innovation. And as we can see in the top 5 ingredients you're looking for, one of them is actually magnesium. As we've seen, this kind of consumer tries to find magnesium for different reasons, whether it's to prevent hypertension during pregnancy, for example, or also for menopausic women. We've seen they're also trying to find magnesium because it has seen to support also bone health and cardiovascular health, or even also for consumers that are trying to get a better stress relief or sleep better, or even also for menopausic women like the hot flashes or the night sweats. There are many reasons why this kind of consumer is trying to find magnesium, because they're very highly educated. So it's very important to keep in mind because these are also driving the innovation for these products. And last but not least, in terms of proactive consumers, we have the solution seekers. So this kind of consumer is the one that is trying to find specific outcomes in their supplements, whether it's sleep support or beauty from within, cognitive sharpness, mental wellness. So these are also highly educated, and they are trying to find specific ingredients that support them for these specific health concerns. And again, we can see in the top 5 ingredients, one of them is magnesium. That means that these solution seekers already recognize magnesium can bring benefits for these health concerns they are looking for. So it's very important to establish that magnesium is widely represented throughout the productive consumer, and it really covers a lot of the unmet needs and health concerns that these productive consumers are looking for. And this is representing the numbers in the market data. We've seen there is a push in the magnesium supplements market. It's almost 20 billion now, and it's growing at 82% CAGR. And we see that, again, it's linked to different benefits, whether it's increased energy and vitality, or better sleep, resilience to stress, or especially we see a lot in athletes. They're trying to have a better post-workout recovery or avoid cramps, for example. So we see that there's a big consumer, the one that is having this active lifestyle, or athletes that are also using magnesiums in their supplementation. So the combination of all these benefits is the one that is driving the growth in magnesium supplements. And it's also represented in the launches, as you can see. Based on data we got from Intel, 47% of the launches last year contained magnesium, compared to the previous year that was 36%. So it's really, magnesium is on a spotlight. People, for example, Scott Dicker from Market Insights, from Spins, quoting him, he said, I'm very bullish on ingredients like magnesium to have a big year in 2024, especially in the mood support health focus. So we really see that there is a lot of momentum around magnesium, and we can see that represented throughout different benefits and also in new product launches. Also very important is to consider the delivery formats. When it comes to magnesium in general, we still see that a lot of consumers choose the classic formats or the more traditional, like standard tablets, capsules, but we also see a growth in on-the-go, more convenient formats, for example, powders. So in terms of numbers, we've seen that, for example, capsule and tablets, even though they account for the majority, they're growing a little slower, like a 7 to 8% CAGR, compared to powder formulations, which are growing double digits, like 12%, for example. So even though they are not the biggest market, they're growing very fast. And we also see that how brands are responding. We can see on the right chart. These are supplements containing magnesium last year, segmented by format type. And we see that powder, for example, is already taking up 10% of the total launches. So it's also an interesting trend to see that more on-the-go formats are being demanded and is being represented through the new launches in these specific magnesium products. And not only do we see magnesium being discussed in people in the nutraceuticals world, but also in social media. So for example, here in TikTok, there are a lot of influencers that are discussing this dreamy discussion where they really put magnesium on the spotlight. Some of them talk how it can support other ingredients like melatonin or valerian, or even there are some unmet needs with these ingredients that magnesium can actually support. Or in general, magnesium alone, what are the benefits it brings, like on biological processes, for example. We see a lot of buzz, a lot of comments around magnesium, a lot of positive reviews also, that is really pushing the demand of consumers trying to get magnesium. So far then, we have established magnesium is really a mighty mineral. It has so many benefits. It really supports the proactive consumers, especially those that demand an active lifestyle. However, magnesium is one of those minerals that is frequently overlooked, that is not so easy to get the full daily recommended dose on the diet. Therefore, magnesium supplementation is highly recommended. However, when we analyze the market of magnesium supplements, basically we have this platform called Reviews, which is a cloud-based review analysis that is able to gather thousands of product reviews and help us identify which are the drivers of the bad sentiment, or the topics that drive the bad sentiment of this kind of magnesium supplements, and which ones drive the good sentiment. Okay. So some ideas or some concepts we got or topics are very relevant that are driving the bad sentiment. Number one, because this is based on volume of conversations, is size. So it seems like a lot of consumers that do want to take magnesium, they find the alternatives in the market too uncomfortable, whether the pills are too large or the servings are too big. They have a hard time swallowing large pills. Basically, this has to be because magnesium, again, the recommended daily allowance is very high. Therefore, formulators struggle in really loading these magnesium tablets. That's why they end up with a very large size pill that consumers really resent, because they have a lot of problems when swallowing these large pills, for example. This is one of the unmet needs we identify in the market. The second one is more on the experience, the sensitivity and the side effects. It seems like some consumers struggle with the taste, like off taste of the magnesium supplements, and some of them even have some stomach upset due to these magnesium products. So something needs to be addressed, because even though they want to take magnesium, if they cannot tolerate it, they will interrupt the supplementation. And the third one that is kind of linked to the first one, the dosage and product quantity. Because sometimes in the market, not only do consumers need to take a big, large pill, but more than one a day, maybe 3. So again, to be able to reach the desired magnesium amount to experience the benefits of magnesium. So not only are big the tablets, but also you need to take too many per day. So that's another unmet need that consumers struggle with. And that's being represented, especially in some brands that have bad sentiment that is really impacting their sales. And last one is taste and texture. When we were analyzing other sort of preferred formats like powders, for example, a lot of consumers struggle with metallic or an aftertaste, on the subtle aftertaste, but also the texture. Some of them complain that it's very pasty or did not dissolve well in water, or it's too gritty, or in their mouth it gives a like chalk effect. So people really complain about the texture of these powder formats containing magnesium. So these are some of the examples of the unmet needs there are in the markets that we were able to identify. But on the good side, when it comes to positive or what's driving the high sentiment of magnesium supplements, it seems like in most consumers actually feel the results. Like they really feel when the products well absorbed, there is a support in the sleep, for example, and they also see benefits over time. Like if they take supplements with magnesium for a long time, they start feeling better, more energetic. So there is a good side of the story. People understand that magnesium does have an impact, but it's more on the experience that consumers struggle. So with that in mind, I turn it over to Alan now. So he's going to explain how we address some of these challenges through microencapsulation through our product McShane microcapsules. All yours, Alan.
Thank you, Isa. So as Isa mentioned, microencapsulation is one of the key technologies in Lubrizol life science nutraceuticals. Microencapsulation is where a solid, liquid, or gaseous active ingredient is packaged within a secondary material, also known as a wall material, to protect the active ingredient from the surrounding environment. Through encapsulation, you end up with two basic particles. On the top left, we have what we consider a core shell particle. Here, the active ingredient is in the core and it's surrounded by a protective shell. So this typically is formed during hot melt coating or similar processes. On the right-hand side, we can see what we call a matrix particle. This is where there are multiple cores of the active ingredient encapsulated in the matrix material. This is formed during processes like spray drying, etc. There are many technical advantages associated with microencapsulation. Most importantly, it's improved stability. As we said, we package the active ingredient in this protective matrix. And if the active ingredient, for example, is sensitive to oxygen, you can create an impenetrable protective matrix, which does not allow the active ingredient to destabilize. Also, if this active ingredient can interact with other ingredients or other vitamins and minerals in the blend, by protecting it in this matrix, you inhibit any reaction occurring between the two active ingredients. Another very good advantage of this is also taste masking. We know some botanicals, like caffeine, for example, have very strong bitter, astringent taste associated with them, which can really ruin a customer's experience. By coating one of these type of particles in a protective shell, you can prevent the active ingredient from coming into contact with the taste buds on the tongue, and thereby preventing this bitter sensation on the tongue. Also, controlled release. Some active ingredients are absorbed in the intestine and can be broken down in the digestive tract. So it's very important that they're released in the right area so that they can be absorbed efficiently. By microencapsulating these active ingredients in very specific wall matrices, you can really ensure a controlled release of this active ingredient and maximize absorption in the body. This is directly linked then, of course, with bioavailability. You want to make sure that the product that you're consuming is bioavailable. By encapsulating the product, you enhance the stability. You can also give the controlled release, which in turn, of course, increases bioavailability of the final product. In this slide, we have a basic representation of the encapsulation technology. On the left-hand side, you can see the active ingredient, which is the magnesium oxide, which has been microionized. Using our specially selected wall matrices, then, we microencapsulate this product to give it very good water dispersibility, very good taste aspect in a highly concentrated and stable format. On the right-hand side, we can see some SEM images of the magnesium oxide before encapsulation. You can see these very small irregular particles, which have very poor flow properties and can react with other ingredients in the blend. On the bottom, we see the mag-shaped microcapsules after microencapsulation. We end up with these very spherical particles, which have very good flow properties, and as mentioned, very pleasant tasting and a very bioavailable source of magnesium. In the center, we have a study where we compared magnesium oxide to MagShape in terms of bioavailability in a clinical trial. On the left, you can see the magnesium levels in serum, and we have the area under the curve measured at T2 hours, 4 hours, and 8 hours. And importantly, we can see here that at all time points, MagShape was significantly more bioavailable than magnesium oxide in this study. This, of course, demonstrates the bioavailability of MagShape microcapsules. Just to compare MagShape to other magnesium salts on the market, we look here at the taste, the concentration, and also the flow properties of each of the different salts. So we always market MagShape as being very good tasting with a high concentration and good flow properties. When we compare it to magnesium bisglycinate, for example, we can see this has a very bitter taste, and this is obviously going to be very difficult to consume in a powder or a tablet. Similarly, when we look at magnesium chloride, it also has a very bitter taste, and magnesium citrate has a very sour taste. So this, of course, would then limit the applications that you can apply these ingredients to. Obviously, you're not going to have a sour chocolate tasting application at some point. So with magnesium citrate, you're really limited to citrus type flavors. Concentration, again, is key. We have 30% elemental magnesium in MagShape. When you compare this to magnesium bisglycinate, it's 10%, magnesium citrate 11%, and magnesium chloride 12%. So this means you basically have to consume almost 3 times more powder in order to obtain the same amount of magnesium. And again, when you combine this with the very bitter taste or the very sour taste of these different salts, it can be quite challenging to consume. And of course, the customer isn't going to want to repeat the experience. In the final column, we're looking at the flow properties. And again, MagShape demonstrates very good flow properties as we've measured in our lab. And we've compared it to the other salts, which have poor, if not average, flow properties. On the left-hand side, we just have a visual representation of the impact of magnesium concentration on the final application. So this is an oral-soluble sachet, which we developed in the lab, which Isa is going to explain a lot more about in the next slides. But you can see this is the amount of powder that a person would need to consume to get their elemental magnesium levels for one day. Here again, we're looking at the rheological properties of MagShape versus other magnesium salts. We looked at the bulk density, the tap density, the compressibility index, and the angle of repose. All these characteristics are very important when developing powder applications like tablets or oral-soluble sachets, for example. When we look at the bulk and tap density of the MagShape, we can see it's roughly 0.8 to 0.6. Sorry, 0.9 to 0.6. These are very key properties because the higher the bulk density, the lower the volume of your product and the more you can fit into, let's say, capsules or tablets. In terms of the bulk and tap density, magnesium oxide granular was the only one with a higher value. When we look at compressibility index, we can see in the table at the bottom, a value of less than 10 is excellent, whereas a value over 37, 32 to 37 is very poor. Similarly, when we look at the angle of repose, we can see a value of less than 25 is excellent, whereas a value of over 40 is very poor. When we look at the magnesium bisglycinate, the value is up to 50. This is an arbitrary value because we couldn't actually measure the sample due to the high hygroscopicity. Basically, due to moisture in the environment, it could not be measured in the machine. This would mean that if you're preparing capsules or tablets, you would need a very good relative humidity controlled environment in order to prepare them properly. This, of course, adds complication and cost to the process. However, when we look at the MagShape, we can see the angle of repose and the compressible yield index were very good. This is again important because you can generate good tablets with good hardness and of course also oral-soluble sachets and other typical powder applications. In this slide, we're demonstrating some results that we have generating IR tablets with MagShape. We could generate tablets with 100% magnesium, but the idea here was that we wanted to generate an IR tablet which fit with the USP value of 30-minute dissolution time. In order to achieve this, we needed to add 9% disintegrant and 1% magnesium stearate. The magnesium stearate is to allow it to be tableted on an automated tablet press in order for it to be commercialized. The highlight here is that we obtained 90% magnesium, which composes of 250 milligram elemental magnesium in a 1 gram tablet. This ensures that it's a very small tablet and that you only need to consume 1 tablet per day to get the maximum allowed magnesium from supplemental sources. When we look at the hardness, for example, we can see the value of 200 to 210 is well within the expected range. The friability, the percentage after 300 rotations was less than 0.1% when a USB value of less than 1 is required. So we're well within the requirements from friability perspective. And again, dissolution time is also a USB value at 30 minutes. Using just 9% disintegrant, we attained 15 minutes disintegration time. Using a similar recipe, we developed tablets also using magnesium oxide granular. So we have prepared two pictures of the magnesium oxide granular tablets, one on the top right and then the mag-shaped tablets on the bottom. You can see the mag-shaped tablets are very white, very smooth, very uniform. However, when you look at the magnesium oxide granular tablets, you can see these black specks all over the tablets and blemishes, etc. These are very typical when tableting with magnesium oxide on its own. This typically requires a secondary coating step in order to eliminate these black specks, which again adds complexity to the process, but also adds cost. And typically, due to the magnesium concentration, you have to apply 1, 2, if not even 3 tablets for a daily dosage using the other magnesium salts. And now I'll hand over to Isa again, who will go into the consumer tests using the oral-soluble sachets.
Thank you, Alan, and thank you for sharing so much technical specifications that really help us understand how microencapsulation really brings value and helps stand out from the other magnesium sources. So for us, part of our strategy is really validating all of these aspects or benefits we bring to a table through the consumer's voice. So for that reason, we decided to carry out a consumer test with MagShape and other products in order to see what are the preferences by consumers. So in this case, the study was carried out in 100 consumers that were aged from 18 through 15 years old. The segmentation in this case was 32% were male, while 68% were women. And the idea was for them to try 5 different oral-soluble sachets with powder, contain different sources of magnesium, 5 of them. One of them was our MagShape. The idea was for them to validate and evaluate different sensory properties and be able to rank them based on their preferences. Important is that each of these consumers was given exact same amount of magnesium. It was 50 milligrams per serving. But as you can see, and also based on what Alan shared, depending on the source of magnesium and the elemental magnesium contained in each of these sources of magnesium, the amount of total powder is different. So here we can see in the images that, for example, with MagShape, the required quantity is very small compared to the other sources like citrate or bisglycinate. So in order to achieve the same elemental magnesium per serving, the amount of powder that the consumers needed to take was also different, okay? So they were also asked to evaluate based on a hedonic rating, basically scoring which one they liked very much and extremely, and it was considered what they disliked when they ranked from 1 through 4. Some of the parameters they were asked to evaluate were the most important sensory attributes were taste and texture. So as we can see on the image at the left, MagShape turned out to be the one that they prefer the most in terms of taste. And compared to the others, as we can see also when there's statistical significance is when the letters are different. So in this case, we got a difference with bisglycinate that they really penalized because of the taste, as we can see. And not only most of the consumers liked MagShape better, but also if we see the table below, they are, in this case, the consumers that disliked these products. Also with MagShape, they were the less amount. So not only most of the consumers liked it better, but also there were less that disliked it. This is on the taste attribute. But then if we will move to the graph at the right, when texture was also analyzed, we saw that texture is very important, especially in powder applications, because they really put in contact the product with their mouth. That's why measuring texture is a very important sensory attribute that was asked to evaluate. So results that we obtain is that, again, those consumers that tried MagShape like the texture better compared to other sources. And they also, the people that disliked it, in the case of MagShape, were the less amount. Therefore, we can consider here that consumers liked the taste and texture better of our product compared to other magnesium sources. And also, as we established, convenience is one of the major unmet needs. Consumers don't want large portions or they want to take so many per day. So we're also asking these consumers, so the recommended dose of magnesium based in Europe is 250 milligrams per day. How was the experience? Like, do you consider the amount of product in the sachet adequate for a single dose? So as we can see, 73% of the consumers voted that they find it very suitable and quite suitable to take one single shot in the amount of powder with MagShape. Why? Because they like the texture and the taste. So most of them prefer this format, and they appreciate the fact that in one single serving they can get all the magnesium they need per day. That was not the case in other magnesium sources, for example, bisglycinate or carbonate, whether they didn't like the taste or they found the product was too much or they didn't like the texture. So that's very important to highlight that with MagShape, not only do we enable all these technical advantages, but at the end, the consumers have a better experience with magnesium supplementation, which is also the focus of this analysis that we did, and also of the technologies that enable this differentiation in the products. So summarizing a little bit, our MagShape product really helps unlock the true power of magnesium. And we show that through some technical data we generated, where we were able to show that we can come up with smaller and also cleaner tablets with MagShape because the amount of ingredient is minimal compared to other recipes. And also we enable a product that is directly compressible, which is very important for tablets. Also the end product is more robust and stable with low friability. And from the consumer standpoint, it's highly concentrated. Therefore, we enable a small single tablet per day. And also, as we've shown with the consumer taste data, we also come up with an aerosolable powder with MagShape that also provides some sensory benefits. We enable a more convenient magnesium delivery that consumers voted it has a pleasant taste, texture, and mouthfeel. And it also remains highly concentrated, therefore it enables a small daily serving. So this is an example of how we can help differentiate magnesium fortified products in two types of applications based on the technology we have applied to our magnesium. So now I turn it back to Alan to explain a bit more about the science to back up the claims we have on magnesium.
Thank you, Isa. Previously, I demonstrated how we had done a clinical study comparing MagShape to magnesium oxide and how we enhanced the bioavailability of the product. Now I will show you two other studies which we completed in Lubrizol, demonstrating how MagShape can impact muscle relaxation. Muscle relaxation is very important because it's directly linked to sleep and also relaxation of the body and mind. It's also very important for athletes who regularly participate in sports because muscle relaxation can, of course, prevent muscle cramps from forming. So in the first study, as mentioned, we were looking at muscle relaxation using an in vitro testing method. We looked at the inhibitory capacity on neuronal exocitosis. In the neuromuscular junctions, the release of neurotransmitters from peripheral neurons to skeletal muscle allows for muscle contraction. The inhibition of noradrenaline release in a human neuroblastoma cell line using MagShape was determined. Noradrenaline is a neurotransmitter produced in the brain which signals neurons to activate. Once the neurons are activated, you become more excited, less prone to sleep, and of course more prone to muscle cramps, for example. Noradrenaline, also known as epinephrine, is sometimes called the wake-up neurotransmitter because, as I said, you're more active, you're more alert when noradrenaline is present in the body. So in the graph on the bottom, we measured the release of noradrenaline using this in vitro approach. The first graph is the negative control, where the cells were exposed to TPA. TPA is a 4-bil ester which potentiates the release of noradrenaline in a human cell line. It potentiates the release, but it doesn't actually cause the release of the noradrenaline. So when we measured the noradrenaline content of this cell line, it's almost 20%, which is minimal release of noradrenaline. However, when we expose the cell line to ionomycin, which is a naturally occurring antibiotic frequently used in calcium transport studies, we can see almost 100% release of noradrenaline from the cells. However, when we treat these exact same cells with MagShape in the well, we can see there's a drop of almost 27% in the level of noradrenaline release. This indicates that treating the muscle cells with MagShape inhibits the release of noradrenaline, which in turn then would enhance the relaxation of the muscle, allowing the person to potentially sleep, relax better, or of course prevent muscle cramping. In a second study, again looking at muscle relaxation efficacy, we used another in vitro model examining muscle performance. The main goal of this project was to test the effect of a nutraceutical active ingredient in the regulation of muscle relaxation of 3D printed skeletal muscle tissue after exercise training with electrical stimulation. Again, myoblast cells were in hydrogel included with fibrin and other precursors. So first, this hydrogel containing the cells was printed, 3D printed on a cell in order to generate this muscle-like structure that we can see. They were then exposed to a growth medium, which allowed, of course, the cells to grow. And after 1 day, this medium was switched to differentiating medium. For 7 days, the cells were allowed to differentiate. And on day 9, the differentiating medium was removed. Thrombin was added in order to allow the fibrin to cross-link, resulting in these myotubes, which is a muscle-like structure. So then this muscle-like tissue was exposed to electrical stimulation to mimic what happens during exercise, and the resulting cells were analyzed using bright field displacement analysis and also calcium imaging. In this graph, we can see the results of the analysis. On the left, we have the control muscle tissue, which of course wasn't exposed to MagShape, and on the right, we have the muscle tissue which was exposed to MagShape. Both tests were done in parallel, so the exact same current was applied to each of the cell tissues, so these results are directly comparable. For the first 10 seconds, both samples were exposed to 1 Hz frequency electrical current, which mimics what occurs during exercise. After 10 seconds, the current was increased to 10 Hz to mimic what occurs during cramping. On the left, we can see the control tissue has a very low amplitude. This is indicative of a very tight muscle, which is very inflexible and rigid. So you can imagine that this muscle then is very prone to cramping, for example. However, on the right, when we expose the MagShape, when we expose the tissue with MagShape to the 10 Hz electrical current, we see a lot larger amplitude. This is directly linked to the fact that the muscle tissue is more relaxed. It can move better, it can flex, and this in turn prevents muscle cramp formation. So these are 2 studies which demonstrate the efficacy of MagShape in muscle performance. Just to summarize the key takeaways of this presentation, we have identified that consumers are prioritizing their emotional wellness as they struggle with stress and sleep. This means they are seeking out products containing magnesium, which can help them to relax. As we demonstrate, microencapsulation enhances the bioavailability of MagShape, while also providing a more concentrated source of magnesium with enhanced functional properties and better taste, etc. The efficacy tests have validated MagShape using claims on muscle relaxation, and technical and consumer data show that MagShape improves consumer-focused formulations. All in all, MagShape enables bioavailable, convenient applications with low dosage and high acceptability. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, we're happy to take them right now.
Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed the presentation. So yeah, we have some questions, Alan, so we'll start reading them out loud. So depending on the topic, we can decide who of us or both of us answer, okay? So, let me see. First one is, What is driving the increased demand for magnesium supplements, and what type of consumers are more interested in magnesium supplements? I think I can take on this one. So as we saw, magnesium is represented across different kind of demands when it comes to proactive consumers, whether it's pregnancy-minded consumers that are wanting to support them during pregnancy, or even the solution seekers that are more like athletes trying to find relaxation or unwind before going to bed. So there are different kind of consumers that are trying to find magnesium, and there are different reasons why. But most of them, what they do have in common, that they are proactive, they're highly educated, and they're trying to find recognizable ingredients that are backed by science in their supplements. That's why magnesium is really hot right now, and it's being demanded by so many consumers because of the wide range of benefits it's able to provide. Okay, so I'll go through the second one. We understand MagShape is Lubrizol's neutral magnesium source, consisting of microencapsulated magnesium oxide particles. What is the main advantage of choosing magnesium oxide over other magnesium salts? You want to take this one over?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Isa. So as we demonstrated, magnesium and magnesium oxide in particular is very stable in formulations. It has a minimal taste aspect, but of course there are some concerns about the bioavailability of magnesium oxide. So by applying our microencapsulation technology, we can enhance the bioavailability of the magnesium while also maintaining the other properties which we desire, like this limited taste aspect, the less reactivity. So this, of course, then guarantees that our customer, when they prepare their application, end up with a stable, bioavailable, and good tasting source of magnesium, which can be applied to many different formats.
Great answer. Thank you, Alan. So there's another one in the chat. How do MagShape microcapsule health formulators create trendy delivery formats with magnesium? You can start if you want to. I have some ideas, but I don't know if you want to comment something on this one.
Yeah, sure. I can maybe touch on the technical aspect, because I think one of the key aspects of daily consumed applications are applications that you have to consume on a daily basis is the size. The bigger the size, the more difficult it is to actually work with, to take, and even just to carry around. So because of the higher magnesium concentration, you can really enable small applications, which would be challenging with other salts. This could be like an effervescent tablet, for example, or like we've demonstrated in the consumer study, the oral-soluble sachet. So you guarantee this good taste, high acceptability, and very good bioavailability.
Thank you, Alan. I think you pretty much capture everything, but it's again, especially in the modern life, people want to bring something that is easy to take, effortless ingestion, something that doesn't even need water, that is oral soluble. So I think we really focus on what consumers need for the development of this specific product, but also in the application, we wanted to test it through the consumers to enable that delivery format that goes along with what they need in terms of convenience, portability, versatility as well. Some people don't want to take it directly. They want to put in the smoothie or in the preferred beverage. So I think it's very important also for consumers to customize the product. So this MagShape or salt powder also enables that versatility and that customization based on what each consumer wants. So I think that's how it keeps trending and supporting the unmet needs of the consumers. Okay, we have another one. Where do you see the nutraceuticals industry heading, and what trends do you expect will increase? Do you want me to take this one, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's perfect for you.
Okay. Yeah, so what we've seen, like we were analyzing this year, all the trends, also from Innova Markets, so many people are discussing trends, is that people are really highlighting the recognizable ingredients on pack. We've seen like consumers are more educated and more skeptical. So we really see that a lot of brands have included on pack the ingredient, the recognizable ingredient. So we see that growing, like more transparency and more focus on the ingredient, but also on the science backing. Like consumers really want to make sure that whatever ingredient is listed has some scientific support on the health claim. So for me, that's something that continues to be innovative. And also, not only the science has been growing, but also we see that more and more there is a focus on new delivery formats, on the go formats, even like emerging new formats like oral strips, for example, things that are very easy to take with, like Alan was mentioning, something that makes it a tasty experience and that is more convenient for consumers. We see the marriage, let's say, between science and sensory in the what is driving the innovation, especially around recognizable ingredients, because consumers really want to feel safe and they want to make sure they know what they're taking, and also like clean label or minimal amount of ingredients in the formulas. That's something that consumers want. They don't want a full bunch of ingredients. They want something simple, clean, easy to take with, that tastes great. So this is, I think, the combination of these attributes is what's really driving the innovation in the supplements market. I don't know if you want to add something, Alan, or should we go to the next one?
No, you can go to the next one. Thank you. You captured it perfectly.
Thank you, Alan. So the next one is, what is the legal situation of microencapsulated magnesium with regard to novel food? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the key aspects of our microencapsulation technology is the naturality of it. We first micronize the magnesium oxide. So this is a very basic particle size reduction step, which can help to enhance the bioavailability. But then during the microencapsulation technique, we apply food grade raw materials, excipients, which enhance the bioavailability and create the microcapsule. So at no point do we modify the chemical structure of the magnesium, or do we use any ingredients which could have a potential impact on the novel food status. So we can really guarantee that our customer will have no issues when it comes to regulatory aspect of our product. And we widely sell all over the world and in each district. So we know from a regulatory point of view, it's okay. So basically, there's no issues when it comes to novel food aspect of mag-shaped microcapsules.
Thank you. I think that was a very important question to answer. I've seen more or one asking about the novel food status. So I'm glad we covered that. So I have another question. Recently, there have been articles in the pharmacy press about myths around magnesium, saying one of them would be that it helps with muscle cramps, and this would actually not be true. What is the evidence of using magnesium to reduce cramps, and its effect? Is its effect dose dependent? Do you want to take this one, Alan?
Yeah, I can take it. One thing we really have to highlight is that EFSA have muscle relaxation as one of the claims related to magnesium. So there are a lot of studies out there already demonstrating the positive impact of magnesium on muscle relaxation. We know, for example, that magnesium is involved in ATP transport, which supplies energy to the muscles. It's also involved in calcium control. So magnesium and calcium are directly linked together in the absorption and how they interact with the muscle contractions and cramps. Magnesium also stabilizes cell membrane and muscle structures, ensuring proper muscle function and reducing the likelihood of cramps. It's very important to point out that there's a key correlation between magnesium intake and calcium intake. The typical requirement for magnesium is 375 milligrams per day, but also for calcium, it's up to 1 gram per day. This is elemental calcium. And it's very important to keep the ratio at 1:2 or 1:3 in order to ensure maximum bodily function. A lot of people are consuming calcium containing supplements, but they're almost forgetting sometimes the magnesium. And this can really create an imbalance in the body, which can also lead to muscle cramping. So it's not so much dose dependent, it's the idea that you really need to maintain the balance between the magnesium levels and the calcium levels within the body to ensure this effect is observed. I mean, the less muscle cramping, increased muscle relaxation.
Very nice and thorough answer, Alan. I think we have time for one last one. So I think, let me read it out loud. How does the increased demand for magnesium relate to broader consumer trends toward a holistic approach to health and wellness? I think I can take this one. So yes, we know that consumers are very concerned not only about physical health, but also taking a holistic approach to health, wondering about the mental wellness. So we've seen a lot of buzz also having magnesium supporting health holistically from the mood perspective, also helping get a more restful sleep. And all this mindfulness, they call it the mindfulness mineral, the mood mineral, because of that, because it has been shown to have these holistic benefits that really support the mental wellness of consumers beyond the physical that we've seen also based on our results on muscle relaxation and noradrenaline inhibition of the transmission. So I think that's why magnesium really supports this holistic trend, because it really is able to provide mental wellness benefits while also providing proved physical benefits. Okay, so I think that's kind of all we had for today. Thank you so much for your time. If we weren't able to answer your question today, we'll be aiming to follow up with you directly after this webinar. Also, for your information, there will be an exit survey that will pop up after this webinar. I would appreciate if you could take some minutes to give us your feedback so we can improve for the next event. Thank you very much for watching today, this presentation, and we look forward to catching up with you later.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.